And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Wednesday, April 30th. I am Josh Engleman, here to break down a two-game NBA slate. The Golden State Warriors, 4-point underdogs in Houston, trying to end it. Minnesota, 5.5-point underdogs in Los Angeles, trying to end it. If Golden State and Minnesota both win on the road today, then we don't have any basketball on Friday. So, unfortunately, I guess I'm cheering for Houston and Minnesota then, so that we get basketball on Friday, but not both teams. Yes, S&P, interesting. I wish I could cash in that play Jokic every slate and automatically profit card some people believed existed. Sorry, couldn't resist. Yeah. Shocking that didn't work every single time forever. I mean, yesterday was insane. That Bucks Pacers game was quite the journey. Giannis finishes with 84 fantasy points in 44 minutes, 30, 20, and 13. They go to OT. Gary Trent, who's playing like absolute shit for the entire game. He's got like 12 points, no real stats, 5 random steals is the only thing that's making him good. And then all of a sudden, boom, I get a DM from Greg. I'm going to read it quickly just so I can even mock it more. I get a DM from Greg that says, Trent is actually having a bad game, plus has 5 steals for no reason. That was at 8:03. 40 minutes later, Gary Trent had hit 7 of his last 8 threes. He finished with 33 real points, 8 made threes, 5 boards, 2 assists. And cost them the game. Like, sure. You know, Halliburton wasn't very good. OT certainly helped. Denver just beat the shit out of the Clippers. Not something that I was expecting. Mitchell Robinson was exceptional in 22 minutes. Jamal Murray set the clock back a little bit. 71 fantasy points in 40 minutes, 43 real points, 8 made threes against the Clippers last night. I did not think that was in the cards. Hell of a day, man. Magic went home permanently. Bucks went home permanently. I cannot believe the end. How did the Bucks blow a 7-point lead with 40 seconds left? Justin hit us with a super chat. Mitchell Robinson balled out, took down a single game showdown solo up top. Josh is the GOAT. Look, I'd love to take credit for that, and I agree I am the GOAT, but let's give Eric some credit for that one on Mitchell Robinson. What a journey yesterday, though, for Gary Trent. From not a good game to falling into a good DFS game to just in 12 NBA game minutes, going from a pain in the ass to an absolute necessity with 7 of 8 made threes. Kevin Porter Jr. played 46 minutes and 34 seconds yesterday. I believe he played the second most minutes of anybody on the slate behind Gary Trent. Wow, guys. Wow. Yeah, Binking, I wouldn't want to tell people that you faded KPJ. 46 minutes and 34 seconds. I would have had more than 100% if I knew he was playing 46 minutes. Oh, man. What a day. And now we're back with the 2-gamer. 2 road teams, up 3-1, trying to close out the series. The expectation is we get one of them. All right, chat, let's just have the conversation. Because, look, this is game 6. We've talked about these games a lot. I don't have a lot of Buddy Hield against the Rockets takes at this point. So who wins today? For me, it's Golden State and Minnesota. I think it's over. I think they're both over. Trell says Rockets win. Aquarius says Lakers, Warriors. Steven says, I think Golden State and the Lakers stay alive. Over for both from Coach Chris. Spoonie Love says Warriors, Lakers. Yeah, Binking, I believe you. You're just wrong. Warriors in 6, Wolves in 6. I'm over you. Later permanently, brother. You're not fun to have around. I'm tired of reading your bullshit. So, later on. Coach Chris, I completely agree. I don't want to see the Lakers anymore either. They're just not good. I just wish people could be realistic about the Lakers. I really do. I wish people could just be like, you know what? It's really cool that we got Luka. He's awesome and we're going to be good for years. But we're not good immediately. Like, why can't it just be that? Why do people have to look at it and think like, well, we have Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura, so we're going to win the title. I have a feeling Jalen Green is going to have a Kobe game tonight. Diablo Biscuit, I wonder what you mean by Kobe game. Because I think you might be right, but not the way that you mean it. Let's just try to talk through these teams generically for a little bit. Because, like, there are obviously things that are just not worth trying to hypothesize. The randomness of the individual day. Like, does Draymond Green play well? I don't know, man. S&P, that's a very true statement. Jalen Green might not start the game. His props are low. His minutes expectation is low. What they would change, I don't know, but, you know, they might move some stuff around. So Golden State, most owned guy on the DraftKings side is Buddy Hield. He's 40%. He's our most optimal as well. And then you get Steph, Pods, Butler, and Green all in the mid-20s. And you get Quentin Post and Gary Payton around 15. Basically nothing for Moody. They didn't play a ton of Moody in that last one. We could take a look at the... why is my Stream Deck not working? Can't switch to my tabs here. So we see... Perfect. So there's the Game 4 popcorn machine layout. Jose, I don't think they're underperforming anything. I think they're performing exactly how I expected them to perform. This is why we can't look at seeding. While they might have been the 2 seed, they weren't the 2 seed. So Moody picked up standard first quarter rotation, got about 4 minutes. Got a second quarter rotation of another 4 minutes. Where we don't really know if he was going to get that rotation. Because he checked in technically for Jimmy Butler or Buddy Hield, but Hield picked up a foul. So it kind of depends on if Moody is Butler or Pods is Butler and vice versa. But then we got to the second half and he played, 3.5 minutes and that was about it. Doesn't seem like they want to play Moody anymore. He doesn't strike me as a guy that I want to get to all that frequently in this spot. I think the guys that are a little bit more interesting is probably like Post and Peyton coming off the bench. You know, we got to remember that in these 3-1 games, you could see much bigger increased minutes. Yeah, I mean, starting line, it could be anything here. I mean, obviously, Pods still looks good at 6K. I think you can see my takeaway on Golden State right now. I've got 3% of a 20% owned Steph. I've got 4% owned of a 20% owned Jimmy Butler. I mean, based on my exposures, I should not be cheering for the Golden State Warriors in this one. Let's see. Do we have any like interesting lineup data to look at here? All right, let's see. So far in the playoffs for Golden State, I mean, they haven't played. Why is that showing only 2 games played? That's weird. Very weird. I don't know. Thinking, are you just trying to say stuff to make me have to deal with it during the show? Because Steve Kerr has never been the best coach at anything pretty much ever. You guys gonna join me on the fade Steph, fade Jimmy train? Let me pull up FanDuel for you guys too, by the way. 50% ownership to Steph, 40 to Pods, 40 to Draymond, 35 to Jimmy Butler. The Warriors are much more owned on DraftKings than they are on FanDuel. On DraftKings, Golden State's the lowest owned team. FanDuel is not the same story. I don't want to give Steve Kerr too much credit for not having choices. Like, what else was Steve Kerr going to do? Like, he doesn't have any other levers to pull. That's not that. This team doesn't have that. What were they going to do? Play Pat Spencer? Like, all of the decisions for Golden State right now are basically being made on their own. Honestly, the only thing that I think that you can give Steve Kerr credit for is not playing Kuminga, because he appears to be right. But like, this isn't like there's not much Steve Kerr can do with this Golden State team. They don't have a lot of like break in case of emergency stuff. I don't like that I'm as light on Golden State as I am. I do find it interesting that the Darko dunks and threes blended plus minus model likes Houston way more than Golden State here. That's surprising to me because I was extra special high on Golden State heading into the regular season. What do you guys like the most from the Warriors? I think it's just Pods again. I mean, like, obviously Buddy Hield's your highest owned guy because 4K shooting guard small forward is just really valuable on a 2-gamer. But I think it's pretty clearly Pods. And then I don't know how you pick between Curry, Butler, and Draymond. Seems like most of you guys are with me on Pods. Which makes me happy. I appreciate the company. Not exactly an island, though. Here's the only problem with Pods. he is doing less. You know, usage rate is down a little bit. This is the big one, though. Assist rate has come down quite a bit over the past 2 weeks. You know, he was a 19% guy, kind of trending in the like 15, 16 range. Rebounding's down. Like, he's kind of just fitting in a little bit more, which is scary. The only saving grace there really is that it's not like they have a ton of other guys that could take on any sort of lift. My expectation is that I have a decent chunk of Podziemski and Hield because of the flexibility, and that I don't have much of Steph or Butler, and that Draymond is the guy I end up with the most of because of the MPE. And then for Post, I mean, he's just getting the run. You know, played just under 20 minutes last time. We got him in for 19 here. He's 3,800. He's a good enough per minute guy. You know, 4 boards, 3 assists last time out. 2 made threes. It's not going to take much for Quentin Post. Ben, no. Gary Payton's the weird one, because I always feel like he's going to play more minutes and then he just doesn't. He got 16 minutes last time out. You know, I think he can get up into like the 20 range or so. Shooting guard, small forward, 3,500. I think that's just a value play you click on the whole day. I mean, like, obviously you're clicking on everybody. It's a 2-gamer. I'm going to rank the Golden State team. This is going to be my final ranking for the morning. Podziemski, Hield, Payton, Post, Draymond, Butler, Curry, Moody. I am a little intrigued by Jimmy Butler, but 8,300 feels a little pricey today. What else do we have on his corner? Nobody. Jimmy Butler's the only guy priced in the 8Ks today. Jimmy Butler is on such a weird island. Julius Randle's $1,200 cheaper than him. That's the next closest guy. And then Şengün is $700 more expensive. Next closest guy. Jimmy Butler is just sitting on an island today. He's the only guy whose price isn't anywhere near anyone else. I don't know what to do with that. Right now, it's making me not have him at all. I have some massive fades. I have 2 really big stands. Actually, I have 3 really big stands. And I have 4.5 really big fades. Big stand Luka. Big stand Steven Adams. Big fade Curry, Butler, Amin Thompson, Jalen Green. S&P, is he going to play? Played 5 minutes last game, including, I don't know, a minute in the second half. Minute 46 in the first quarter, 2:06 in the second quarter. So basically 4 minutes. Yeah, I mean, he played a minute in the second half. I'm going to have a real tough time clicking Kevon Looney's name. What are you seeing that I'm not? As I slide on over to Odd Shopper to see if we have any Golden State bets to start the day. We do not. Let's look at Houston. Your most owned guy is Fred VanVleet, who made 8 threes last time out, I think. Your second most owned guy is Steven Adams, but he is my second most owned guy. $3,600 center Steven Adams is 30% owned. He's in 62% of my lineups. Adams ended up playing 26 minutes last time out. He sort of closed. They didn't close with Jalen Green, who was dreadful. I mean, Adams played like legit real minutes, and Şengün played 42, so it had nothing to do with Şengün. Şengün played as much as he possibly could, and Steven Adams still got 26 minutes. We have him in for 20. So I have a ton of Steven Adams today. The rest of these guys, oof. So giant fade of Jalen Green. Now, he is the perfect GPP play. 6,700 shooting guard, small forward, sorry, just shooting guard eligible. 16% optimal, 20% owned. But it went real bad for Jalen Green in game 4. So bad that they took him off the floor after 7 minutes of the fourth quarter and didn't put him back out there. Travis, I don't know, man. I don't know what they do. Dylan Brooks is just like a guy you get today at 4,600. Just mid-tier value. I don't have the same pay up today on Şengün that I did in game 5, but he's 9K. He's 30% owned. I'm right there. Smith and Eason, it's the same story it was last time out. I don't know how you sift through those guys. Smith got 6 more minutes last time out. There's absolutely nothing that says that can't flip today. But my biggest fade here is either Jalen Green or Amin Thompson. Now, I'm cool with the Jalen Green one. I'm kind of cool with the Amin Thompson one, too. He's just so bad on offense that I don't think he's ready for this yet. So if I'm going to be light on 2 things in this game, I am really, 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 really happy it's Jalen Green and Amin Thompson. Do I want this much Fred VanVleet after him making those 8 threes in the last game? Hell no. But I can't help it. What do you guys want to do with Houston? JC, what is Rudy Gobert supposed to dominate? Just out of curiosity. Shaq's not right about anything, ever. If you go to Shaq for your knowledge, you're watching basketball wrong. Matt Capasso, Adams and Brooks. Okay. Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm obviously with you on Adams. Brooks is just terrifying. Terrifying. I hate this so much because I don't think Houston wins. But I don't want Fred VanVleet. Well, I didn't want him last time, and then he just made every 3 he took. Donnie's on Fred VanVleet, Şengün, and Thompson. Big Rob's on Adams and Şengün. The Şengün piece is tough at 9K. Because you've got him sitting there at 9K, but you also have LeBron at 9K, who's twice as owned. You have Ant at 9,100, who's a little bit more owned. Steph, more expensive. Luka, different tier. I like Şengün, but I don't think it's a stand day today because of center. Is Şengün the most owned center? No. Technically speaking, Julius Randle, but I don't really know how you're asking that question. I mean, technically Adams is more owned. I don't know what to do. Like, Eason's the guy that I think is the most interesting. Because you wouldn't be surprised if he played like 25 minutes off the bench. There are some guys that can just move around in minutes, and Eason is definitely one of them. And yeah, be ready. Look, Houston's down 3-1. There is nothing that says they can't change their starting lineup. I really don't know what that change would be. Honestly, I could see it being Jabari Smith in for Amin Thompson. That wouldn't surprise me at all if you wanted to try to get a little bit more spacing out there. Let's take a look at some of the different 5-man combinations for Houston. Maybe we can glean something here. All right, Houston lineups. Now, obviously, like, they probably have a couple that they've played a lot. So this might be a little bit more informative than we would have thought. What a great time for Houston, man. 2 incredible offensive players available in the offseason, just when they need it. Okay, so the lineup with Jabari Smith in over Amin Thompson. These top 2 lineups are just Amin Thompson versus Jabari Smith. The Jabari Smith lineup on the season is +7 per 100 possessions. The Amin Thompson lineup is -7 in 650 possessions. This is a no-brainer. The fact that they've even continued to play this Amin Thompson lineup is pretty disgusting from Ime Udoka. Because their best lineup in terms of playing time, too. Now, they could look at the Amin Thompson, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Tariq, and Şengün lineup that's been +22 over 300 possessions. But the starting lineup they're running out in the playoffs right now is -7.4 per 100 possessions over the season. What are we doing here? Because the reason you run that is to have a good defense. Their defense is a 118 defensive rating, 31st percentile. They're not even getting what they think they're getting out of that. Is it weird shooting? Okay. Teams are shooting 42% from 3 against that lineup, so it's a little bit of bad luck. What are they shooting from 3? 35%. Okay. Yeah, a little bit of negative shooting luck, but nothing too crazy. That's the move. The move is Jabari for Amin Thompson. Or Eason for Jalen. No, sorry. Or Eason for, I guess technically it's Eason for Van Vliet, which they're not going to do. They gotta move Jabari in for Amin Thompson today. That's my call. They should be starting Jabari. All right, well, we found a little something for Houston. Here's the FanDuel side of Houston. Enjoy the flattest ownership you'll ever see. 30 to Van Vliet, 25 to Jalen Green, 35 to Dylan Brooks, 35 to Amin Thompson, 35 to Şengün, 30 to Eason, 25 Smith, 20 Adams. Jabari plays like shit as a starter. Need to start Tari and Thompson. Okay, let's take that path and find out how true that is. Because that's what, like, look, we got 2 games. We could look at weird shit. All right, here we go. Houston Rockets, Jabari Smith, when he starts. This is going to be fun. All right. Jabari Smith started 39 games in the regular season, played 1,200 minutes. The team was plus 3.6 in those 1,200 minutes, and he averaged 18.7 points per 100 possessions on 54% true shooting, 34.5 from three. In games where he did not start, but is on the floor. See how he looks. All right, non-Jabari starts, 500 minutes. They were plus 15.5 per 100 possessions. He averaged 23 points per 100 possessions, shot 37% from three, 61% true shooting. Interesting, Arcathel. It's a very different offensive numbers here for Jabari Smith. Let's take a look at Tari Eason. Actually, before we do Tari, let's look at Amin Thompson. Amin Thompson in starts. $1,500 minutes in starts, plus 6.4 per 100 possessions, 22 points, 60% true shooting. When he doesn't start, but he's on. $700 minutes plus 5, 60% true shooting. Okay, now let's check Tari Eason. Eason in starts. Jeremy, sorry we're not just making it up in our heads. That would be much better, I'm sure. Eason in starts. 478 minutes plus 8. 60% true shooting. Tari Eason didn't start, but on the floor. I do want to get Jabari Smith in the starting lineup. Eason off the bench, plus 4, 55% true shooting. I don't know what the path is, but Jabari as a starter is a much better guy, that's for sure. Let's see if we have any Houston bets. We don't. We got Rui and Jaden McDaniels, both under 5.5 rebounds. That's it. All right, let's take a look at Minnesota. Let me hit schedule for the rest of the day. Jeremy, they tell a much better story than anybody else is telling. All right, schedule for the day. Lofty will be up next at 11 a.m. for the MLB Strategy Show. We have the NHL Strategy Show at 2 p.m. Eric and Spags are on MLB Live Before Lock at 5:30. I am with Greg on NBA Live Before Lock at 6:30. And then Greg and I are live together on Playback, playback.tv/Stokastic from 7:30 to 8:30. Oh, lots more to look at, guys. Lots more to look at. Daniels, he has not lost usage in the playoffs. I would highly recommend ignoring fantasy points per minute in these situations. Would Houston have to include Şengün in a Giannis trade? They would want to include Şengün in a Giannis trade. That would be a goal. All right, let's talk through Minnesota. Wolves. I mean, we have been talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves essentially in the exact same way since mid-October. They play 8 guys. They don't fuck around. They do the same thing every time we play. 40% ownership to Ant, 40% ownership to Julius Randle, and I agree with both of them. I think these guys should be getting the ownership more so than like the Golden State guys I wasn't getting. I like Randle and Edwards more than I like Curry and Butler. I just love the series for Ant. 9,100 with an MPE. Looks great. Julius Randle's just been playing well. All the people that couldn't shut up at the start of the season seem to be shutting up now. Obviously, I wasn't one of them. I'll be proven right in the end, like most often. But like Randall's just sort of been involved the same way he always is. The usage rate is pretty much the same. The assist rate's down a little bit, but you know, that's par for the course. The rebounding has been down a bit for Randle, offensive rebounding in particular. But 7,100 power forward center. I mean, this is one of my most exposed guys. He might be third. Actually, he might be fourth. Yeah, he's fourth. He's my fourth most exposed guy. So give me Randle, give me Ant, but give me this whole team. I want to attack LA because I don't think they're any good. Now, I have more LA than I do of anybody else. We'll get there. But 38% of Mike Conley over the field. Neutral to a 40% owned Ant. Neutral to a 25% owned McDaniels. With a 40% owned Randle. Light on Gobert, which is fine for this. You know, DiVincenzo's getting 30% ownership off the bench. That does scare me a little bit. You know, Nickeil Alexander-Walker's minutes have been down. Doesn't take much for them to come back up. So I like being light on DiVincenzo, neutral to Reed. Now, I don't have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but the point still stands. I love the starters for Minnesota, save for Gobert. This just isn't a Gobert series. I love Minnesota here. And I think they finish off LA because I don't think LA is any good. Because they're out of bodies. The Lakers just don't have human beings left. Like, I don't know. Well, technically, the Lakers have one human being left, and we'll get to it. I got Minnesota pulled up on the FanDuel side here. About 35 to 40% ownership on Ant, McDaniels, and Randle, and DiVincenzo. Gobert a little bit more in play on FanDuel. Rudy Gobert is 4,900 on FanDuel today. It's a reasonable price tag, I guess. You know, Reed looks solid at 5K. His floor spacing has been huge in this series. But I like Minnesota because I just think they win here. It's really all there is. What do you guys want to do for Minnesota? Edwards, McDaniels, Conley, Gobert, and Randle have played 47 minutes together so far this series. They're plus 12. When they bring in Reed for Gobert, they've played 22 minutes together so far this series. They're plus 27. The Lakers are getting this done whenever they don't have starters on the floor. Jeremy, I have no idea why Draymond's personality is a reason why analytics don't cover everything. It's a weird take. This is a game that I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike Conley play a couple extra minutes. Not that I love that. Just saying. It wouldn't shock me, is all. I want to look at something quickly. Oh, this is going to be so satisfying. You guys ready for this? Because don't forget, I was all over this from the jump, but I can't help myself here. The two most played lineups so far this season are the Knicks starting five and the Wolves starting five. The Knicks starting five was plus 4.1. The Wolves starting five plus 4.8. Minnesota Timberwolves starting five with Julius Randle. Better net rating than the Knicks this season. Just, for reference. What was Minnesota last year with Towns? I think it was like six and a change or low sevens. It's one of the two. Oh, it was 9. Okay. It's a great trade for Minnesota. It's a great trade for Minnesota. Just think, right now they'd be playing, you would just put Towns in for Julius Randle and you wouldn't have Dante DiVincenzo. That wouldn't be good. You'd be playing Terrence Shannon as your 8th guy. Let's take a look at the Lakers and finish this one off. My guess is that they pull the plug on Jackson Hayes and don't start him. But we got to talk about the most interesting piece of the day for the Lakers. I don't know what it means from a DFS perspective, but Maxi Kleber's questionable. So he had a broken foot. He came over in the Luka trade. Like, they desperately need him. Desperately. If Maxi Kleber were healthy, they'd be playing him 20 plus minutes a night. He's exactly, well, old Maxi Kleber is exactly what they needed, but it might still work for this scenario. So he could get some minutes today. But even still, I don't know how the hell you don't play the Lakers. You are going to get all of the minutes possible for Los Angeles, for Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Dorian Finney-Smith, to a lesser extent, Rui. Look at the ownership. 40, 40, 40, 60, 30. I'm over on LeBron. He's in 78% of my stuff. I'm over on Dorian Finney-Smith. I'm over on Rui. I'm neutral on Reeves. Luka Doncic is my most exposed guy at 79%. I have all of the Lakers. I even have a little bit of Jared Vanderbilt today. I don't know how you dodge this. Same thing on FanDuel. Look at the ownership. 60, 40, 30, 50, 35. This is the most owned team on the day. But JJ's going to jam these guys. So as long as this game can stay competitive, we know what they're doing with their minutes. We know exactly what they're going to be doing. John C., I'm guessing they don't want to play Gabe Vincent anymore because he's a replacement level guard and shouldn't be on the floor. They don't have any talent. Look, you see that yellow line in the middle of the screen underneath Dorian Finney-Smith's name? It gets pretty disgusting after that. Look at the per minute rates. Even if we don't want to talk about like true talent. 0.5, 0.5, 0.8, 0.8, 0.8, 0.7. I mean, there's nothing here. This is a team devoid of talent. But if they can get anything out of Maxi Kleber, they need it. They need him to play like 6 minutes today, just because. Pay attention to the starting lineup. They could still start Hayes for 2 minutes, and then that's it. I don't think it'll matter, but yeah, I don't see how I don't have all of the Luka. I don't see how I don't have all of the LeBron. 79% Luka, 78% LeBron. It's all of it. Yeah, Mark Williams wasn't going to be the answer for these guys either, no matter how much people want to think that it would have been. Another center that's not any good, just like Jackson Hayes, nothing would have changed. John, that's all they can do. Their only option is hope Luka does that. Or hope Luka doesn't do that. JJ's not playing the same starting five for 24 minutes of a second half because he has a lot of talent on the team. Let's build a lineup. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet, guys. We need new games. They need an athletic big man like Lively. They should have got an athletic big man like Lively in the damn trade. It still would have been unbalanced. But yes, exactly. That's exactly what they need. It's almost like I said that the morning of the trade on camera. All right, here we go. Steven Adams is going in at center. There's no doubt about it. Dorian Finney-Smith is going in. Pods is going in. Mike Conley's going in. Dylan Brooks is going in. Fill it. Conley, Pods, LeBron, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, Luka, Jimmy Butler, Dorian Finney-Smith. Let's see how we did on round one. Nailed it. Right out of the gate. 66.5%. Yo, that was easy. I didn't even have to work. I did that in like 5 seconds. Incredible. Man, I'm so good at this. Lazar is in the building, folks. Can we do it on FanDuel as well? Double wins. I love when I go double champ status. All right, Steven Adams in. Dorian Finney-Smith in. Tari Eason in. Fred VanVleet in. And then let's go Dylan Brooks in. Now, I need one more guy. I don't care what the ownership is. Looks like that's going to be LeBron. So we finish it with Luka, Fred VanVleet, Anthony Edwards, Dylan Brooks, LeBron James, Dorian Finney-Smith, Draymond, Eason, Adams. Show me 60% again. Negative 2.8, really? All right, back to the drawing board. Steven, you might want to delete that message. No freebies on this one. All right, I got to look at center because I think that might be the issue. So Adams is the guy from a value perspective. But I think the problem is we're giving up too many fantasy points. I'm going to try Draymond at center instead. Then we can get Dorian Finney-Smith and Tari Eason and maybe Jaden McDaniels, I guess, and Fred VanVleet. I guess Dylan Brooks. I guess I'm taking Luka. That gives me Luka, Reeves, LeBron, and Eason again. It might be too much, LA. $13. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get Reeves out of there and Eason out of there. And I guess Brooks? No, Brooks was a choice. Reeves, Eason, LeBron out. Give me Anthony Edwards over Butler. And then we finish it with, Reeves and Eason again. Interesting. Okay, so if I swap LeBron to Ant, I don't think this is going to move anything. Okay, up to 23. So if I pull Reeves, Eason, who do I like the least here? And Van Vliet? Can I have a different point guard? What if I punt with Conley? That gives me Brooks and LeBron and 700. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to work. Whatever. We got one in the 20s. That'll do it. Guys, another one in the books. If Golden State and Minnesota win today, then we do not have a show on Friday. If Houston or LA win today, then we do have a show on Friday. Tomorrow, we're back. I'm about to record Contenders. So enjoy your day. Have some fun. And I'll talk to you guys later. Click the link in the description, everybody.